This is Yair Davidiy speaking to you from the land of Israel. This is a cheat sheet on video concerning Ephraim as the British people. The British people populate the British Isles. The British people are part of the lost 10 tribes of Israel. We find amongst them the tribe of Ephraim that especially influenced the British national character, and through whom the tribe of Ephraim was destined to give expression to himself. As you know, there are 12 tribes of Israel. They divided into two different sections. The present Jewish people are the southern section, the section that remained. They retained its identity, whereas most of the tribes of Israel, the 10 tribes, lost their ancestry, lost consciousness of who they were. They were exiled, and they moved mostly to the west. They congregated in western areas, and we can trace specific tribes to definite regions, and we find a good portion from the tribes of Joseph in general amongst the British Isles, including Ireland, including Scotland, Wales, England. That is where we find the tribes of Joseph, and amongst the tribes of Joseph we can delineate tribes that pertain more to Ephraim compared to Manasseh, and those that pertain more to Ephraim tended to stay in the region. They migrated to the USA and to other areas less than those who pertain to Manasseh, and therefore for this and for other reasons we identify the USA as Manasseh, whereas Ephraim remained in the British Isles. And the British Isles, the British people have characteristics pertaining to Ephraim, the son of Joseph. And one of the traits of Ephraim was that he would be known as a bull calf. We find this in Jeremiah, in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 31:18. Ephraim is referred to as an egel in Hebrew, a bull calf. The word egel in Hebrew could be pronounced as angle. Angle, egel, there are different ways in Hebrew of pronouncing the same name, depending upon the region, depending on all the factors. Nevertheless, angle and egel are different forms of the same word, pronounced in different ways in the Hebrew language. So too the Angles were the peoples who, together with Angles and Saxons and the Jews, conquered, and other peoples conquered England, what is now England. And they were also known, the Angles gave their name to England. England is where you get the name England from. And the Angles were also known as Agles. Agloi was another way of saying the word angle. And they referred to themselves in namesakes and so on as Agli, as well as Angli. And so, as we found also in Hebrew, where the same phenomenon, where the name Agel could also be pronounced as angle. So this very name in its two forms is found both amongst the Anglo-Saxons and also in the Hebrew Bible amongst the speakers of Hebrew. And this was a nickname applied. A bull calf was a nickname applied to Ephraim, and the symbol of Ephraim was a bull. Each tribe had its own symbols. And the symbol of Ephraim was a bull, and Ephraim was nicknamed a bull calf. But Egel was another name for Ephraim. Also, England was nicknamed, it's known as John Bull, in the same way as you have Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam in the USA represents America, is a figure representing American cartoons and pictures and illustrations have Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam is a national figure. So too in England you have a parallel figure in old books and cartoons, illustrated magazines such as Punch and so on. John Bull is another name for the English or for the British people altogether. John Bull, meaning Ephraim, is another way of saying Egel or bull calf. And this is the name that we find applied to the English people. We also find that that when Jacob was about to bless the sons of Joseph, he intended to bless Ephraim before Manasseh, but Ephraim was younger than Manasseh. Joseph objected. He wanted his son Manasseh, who was the eldest, to be blessed first. But Jacob said no, and this is what happened, as we find in Genesis 48, where now when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand on the head of Ephraim, it displeased him. So he took hold of his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head. to Manasseh said, and Joseph said to his father, Not so, my father, for this one is a firstborn. Put your right hand on his head. His father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. He also shall become a people, and he also shall be great, but truly his younger brother shall be greater than he. His descendants shall become a multitude of nations. So he blessed them as they, saying, For you Israel were blessed, saying, May God make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. And thus he set Ephraim before Manasseh. Also this expression, and his descendants shall become a multitude of nations, according to Onkelos, the Aramaic translator of the Bible, he meant that the nations would be created through him. And the British Empire ruled over a quarter of the world's surface, 1/5 of its population, and the numerous nations that now exist due to the British Empire having established them, set them up, and brought them from stages of barbarism to a relative civilization. And this is true, and this is corroborated by historical studies, even though there were exceptions. There were places in Ireland where the record might be controversial, but nevertheless, on the whole, this ruling applies. This is what the British did in their empire. This is what was prophesied that Ephraim would do. We also have another point concerning Ephraim, that the very name Ephraim means aristocrat. And we have this in the Midrash Vayikra Rabbah 2:3 says that Ephraim would be a tribe of aristocrats. He would be the chief of the assembly, the most handsome and exalted of the descendants of Israel. Ibn Shushan wrote an authoritative dictionary of the Hebrew language, and he gives different word meanings for the word Ephrati. Ephrati is perhaps pronounced as Ephrati in ancient times. Ephrati or Ephrati can mean Ephraim, someone from the tribe of Ephraim. It can mean an aristocrat, or it can mean someone from the region of Ephrat around Bethlehem. And the three meanings overlap each other, but does not. For our purposes, what is most important is the word for Ephraim also meant an aristocrat. And he quotes the Bible, he quotes commentaries on the Bible, he quotes concerning Ephraim being an aristocrat, he quotes Radak on 1 Samuel 1:11, he quotes the Midrash, Perki to Rabbi Eliezer, and concerning someone from Ephraim, he quotes 1 Kings 11:26. So here we have it, that the name Ephrat or Ephrati means someone from Ephraim, also meant an aristocrat. This coincides with different commentators. The tribe of Ephraim was to have aristocratic qualities, and we do find the British do have aristocratic qualities, or more than aristocracy. The institution of aristocracy is valued in Britain, whereas in America it is not. And later talk concerning the Manasseh will show that just the opposite tendency was predicted to pertain to Manasseh, and that is what we find in America. We have egalitarianism, we have the values of democracy, and so on. Whereas in England, even though the people are quite, they stand up for their rights, and they're not servile in any way, just the opposite. But they do value titles, they value aristocracy, they value rank. And even someone who's born into the aristocracy has a better chance of survival, of getting by, of living a good life, of being successful than anyone else. They look after themselves and they are looked after. And the British accept this because the system on the whole works. For all those who wish to get ahead can do so. And not only that, they also have the House of Lords. The House of Lords is part of the British system of government. The House of Lords is comprised mainly of aristocrats who were born into the aristocracy, and they have the right to review all laws and to send them back for revision and amendment and to hold them up, and so on. They still have privileges and prerogatives, and this is part of the British system of life, and it's accepted by the British people because they are an aristocratic nation. It helps everyone to get by in this system, and this is only found in the British people. And this is where we find indications of Ephraim having been found. May the Lord God of Israel bless you all. Thank you.